DBS. That was kind of the idea of this talk. I don't know, questions, tips, tricks, things you don't remember being told, or
Well,
just, I guess,
I
that
have
kind of.
I have a homeboy in my support group that I've known for 5, 6 years.
Mhm.
And when I first met him, he's like, absolutely not. Nobody's playing with my brain, the usual. And he was severe then. And he finally, all his meds weren't working and all that, and he started losing the ability to work, and he's self-employed. So he finally got it done. And I feel like it was just like his window was pretty close to being closed, and he got it, and he does look quite a bit better, but he's still on the same dosage of all his meds. He wasn't able to lower his dosage because he waited way too long to get it done.
So is it same dosage as in
Well,
how many,
typically
like
after
how many
this, yeah,
times?
everything
Oh,
is still the same.
interesting.
Yeah, he's walking a lot better. He's a lot more stable. He's able to speak a lot more clearly. Tremors are a little bit better, but overall, his his meds haven't changed a bit.
So maybe he would be actually on more meds at this point
Right?
if he hadn't had the DBS though.
Yeah.
Sounds like something the neurologist
He's
would tell
pretty
you.
yeah he's pretty tapped out for dosages. He's about as high as they can go, I think.
Mhm.
Interesting. I did not.
How many of you have had the DBS? Any of you?
Greg.
I had mine
He's
in
our,
March.
he's a resident expert.
I had mine in March this year.
I rely mostly on what Melissa tells me, but she'd do it
Yeah.
again. She said she's really
I'd do
happy.
it in a heartbeat. I wouldn't hesitate.
So
I am still having some issues, but not nearly as bad as they were before. Not even
Right.
close. And the odd thing is, there are things that they swear up and down that aren't helped by DBS that I've seen improvement in too. So,
Yeah, that's what my friend said also.
I've received a lot of feedback about DBS, and the majority of it is positive.
Yeah.
But there is some negative feedback.
I have a friend that lives out in California, and she just had her DBS redone. She had to have hers redone because they told
Wow.
her that the leads were not deep enough. And she had a host of other issues. And then the surgery took 9 hours, though.
Wow.
She didn't really specify too much why, but already, I mean, she did that in July, the beginning of July. And she's like a different person. Her dyskinesia was so bad that like she looked like she was riding a bike when she sat down.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that was my friend too.
Yeah, she was down to like just barely over 100 pounds, and she's like 5'7". So
Ooh,
she looks
that's bad.
better. She's completely still. I mean, this is the first time I've ever spoken to her where she has not been moving at all. It was almost weird to
Wow.
see. She said she still rocks back and forth because she's so used to it. It was
that
2.5
is,
years that she waited
Yeah,
for the DBS to
that
work.
muscle memory. Yeah.
Yeah, she was trying to get programmed and stuff, and they were like, "Yeah, it was never going to work because it wasn't in deep enough." So, but she's like, even though I had that delay, she's like, I'd still do it again. She's like,
Wow.
because like my life is already better, and she's only had two
The one
programs.
side.
Yeah.
So the stories
that's right.
I've heard about the infections and the strokes that
Right.
are caused by the DBS, I mean, those are definitely deterrents for me. But
Yeah.
I have, like Mike said, I have heard positives too. I have had other people in the Davis Finney Foundation community say it's definitely a personal decision.
Hmm.
There are pros and cons that have to be weighed, but I am curious if anyone here is familiar with focused ultrasound. And I've talked to some people who've had that and found it really positive, and that's a lot less invasive. So I didn't know if you all knew of people who've had it done or if you've had it done.
I've never met anyone that's had it done.
They said they've gone in with their significant other, or they have gone in and had one side at a time done, but one side done. And as soon as they leave the hospital, it's notable. The tremor's pretty well gone on that side of the
That's
body.
nice.
Well, I
I
think
saw an update recently. It's been the past week or two where they were saying that they had really kind of backed off of that here in the States. They said that they didn't think it was there yet, technology wise. And although it's still very active, apparently in the UK and Canada too, I believe. But I
yeah,
think as far as the states go, they've scaled it back a little bit. I think.
Europe too, but it's a different procedure that they're doing in Europe than they do here. But the focused ultrasound, you know, they zap the alpha synuclein proteins off your brain, so they aim it, and then they test your reflexes and your tremor, and then they zap another one off there, and they test. So it's immediate, but it's also gradual because the benefit increases as you know, go through the procedure. The problem is that, like, I know somebody who went over to Switzerland to get it and paid $35,000 Swiss plus the travel and everything just to get one side because she was like, I can't
She
do the.
couldn't wait.
Well, she waited 8 years to start meds because
Yeah.
she was dead set against not doing them. And when she started
Yeah.
them with the side effects and everything, she was like, I can't handle this. This is too much. And luckily enough, they crowdfunded enough money to, you know, send her there, and she'll go back in 18 months and have the other side done. But I mean, the change in her is absolutely remarkable. But
Good.
it's not here. It's
But I
not
wonder
here.
why they've changed it here. And I often wonder, because of the drug companies, do they scale some of these things back because it cuts into that profit, or
Yeah.
what's the
Yeah.
motive?
Well, they've had it here for years, and they've used it for essential tremor. So they're essentially going off of what they used for essential tremor. And
Right.
I feel like it just needs to, like, the research needs to build. You know, everything that we have here. I mean, from start to finish. If you look up like the process that it takes to get a clinical trial to turn into a drug, it's what, like, roughly about
It's
7 or 8
ridiculous.
years. You
Yeah.
know, in a median sort of form. That's not even. You know, it could be less or it could be
That's
more, but
assuming you get enough to participate in the trial.
right, you have to have a
Yeah.
big enough clinical trial, you know, and if you don't, then it falls and it's gone and that's it. It's done. It's time wasted. So
Um,
If you were to get focused ultrasound, is it something you have to get for the rest of your life, or does it end at some point?
you do it once and that's really
Oh,
it.
that's
It's a
it.
one and done kind of situation. Right
Oh
now,
wow.
that you can, but you can get DBS after focus ultrasound if need be. That's
if you need
something
it.
that yeah, that's something that they just kind of announced within the last 6 months or so.
They also there. I mean, there's also the levodopa pumps
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
that are available.
I would
I think
do
Yeah.
it's Duopo.
apomorphine. Like, I would
Yeah,
do
it's too
Apikin,
Oprah,
but
but
I wouldn't do Duopa.
Yeah.
I
I
think
have.
they're working on that subcutaneous thing, like diabetes injections. They're close to releasing something like that, which to me
Yeah.
is a better option. For me, I would opt for
They
that.
have that in Europe already, the
Is that the
apomorphine.
Neuroderm pump? I think it's called, or something like that.
No, it's Apikin.
I don't know. I don't know the name of it.
Yeah.
I have a guy at my gym that has one, and first of all, the thing he's got to wear this. I'm like, could you make it look a little, at least somewhat attractive? It's like a. I'm like, you know what I mean? Especially like, come on,
Yeah.
we still care about what we look like,
It's
you
like a
know.
wire,
He's got
right?
the, yeah, he's got a wire coming out from under his shirt, and he's got to wear this
It's
awful
there.
fanny pack, and he
Right.
can't do
Oh,
anything on his stomach.
Oh man.
that's for
His movements
Duopa?
aren't, yeah, for the duo
Oh,
pump,
Yeah, because
Yeah.
and
it's big.
It's like
Like
a
it.
feeding tube. It's like a feeding tube.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's
yeah,
not doing that.
The
Yeah.
appliance on that is like it's
it's
pretty
Yeah.
good stuff.
big. And we were, it was mostly young onset people that day, and she decided She split us into two groups, and we were playing dodgeball,
Oh man.
Oh no.
which, if you guys know how competitive I am and how
Oh
Oh,
no.
slightly aggressive I can be on occasion. And I hummed that ball. I was humming it at everybody, but I hummed that ball directly, and I hit him directly in the pump. And I was just like, and he fell. I was just like,
Oh gosh.
okay,
Oh no.
he's like, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. But he was messing with it for the rest of class. I was just like,
oh
oh, I
crap.
felt,
Oh man.
I was also under the
you know,
impression that the DBS and the Duopa were kind of equal of sorts, but the science says that the DBS is supposed to be better. So
yeah,
that was
I,
something new I learned.
yeah.
I
I
think
haven't
so,
seen a whole lot of improvement for him with this pump.
I think it's good for
His
people who have like eating issues like I do. Like if you have gastric emptying
yeah,
or yeah,
Oh,
then but
gastroparesis,
so
it's
it's a
almost
specific
better though.
application.
As far as being active, like for people with YOPD, like I just don't see it because we're more active. I could see it on
right?
somebody who's more bedridden
More,
and
yeah,
you're looking for
yeah.
like a
Sedentary,
right, like a quality of life kind of thing, then
right?
yeah, like that would certainly be. But for people, my doctor, he suggested it to me, and I was like, bro, like I still have kids to raise. I don't have time to be
Right.
sticking a tube in my stomach.
No,
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I still wear a
no,
bikini. You can fuck off with that right now. And he just looked at me like, what? I was like, that's not happening.
no.
He just like he's used to me, so he just laughed. He was like, all right, well, tell me how you really feel. I was
She's
like,
not
Well,
kidding.
and I mean, it all comes down to delivery methods for
Yeah,
men.
yeah,
Is it like I said, I mean, versus the surgery. There's no there's no consistent way of getting the meds
no.
in our
Well,
system.
I think the apomorphine would certainly make a difference for people who are using. I know someone over in France who has it, and it's made a big difference for him. But he's now in the in the middle of the process of getting DBS, so it obviously wasn't a huge fix.
Wasn't enough.
right.
Yeah.
Like it's just another band-aid. So when it comes down to it, if they asked me if I wanted to switch to that before DBS, I'd be like, no, I'm not even gonna bother. Just might as well go big or go home because it's not worth it at this point.
Right. I'm not having 7 procedures.
Yeah, no, not interested. I had 4 kids. It's good enough.
My concern is that you go through the DBS and then people I know who've had it for years, they tremor still, or they're very slow. I mean, I know, like Greg was talking about earlier, some people, or it said that it doesn't improve certain
Right.
symptoms, I guess
Aspect.
like non-motor symptoms, but
Right.
I don't know. To me, it's a shame to go through such a big kind of surgery. I mean, picking around in somebody's brain, and then years later, you're kind of back where you were. So
Hmm.
I don't know. That's unnerving.
And that was my excuse me, neurologist was kind of saying the same thing. She was like, your expectations of where you are before the surgery,
Yep.
where you think you're going to be afterwards. She's like, it may not even be, close.
Anywhere
She's like,
close.
so
Right,
like if
right.
you're
For
hoping
better
to
or
get
worse.
right, if
Yeah.
you're hoping to get from like a 7 or an 8 to a 10, and you only maybe go from a 7 to a 7.5,
Yeah.
then what kind of thing. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
because I mean it's all there's
You're
no we're also individual. I mean it's
mm, you've
results
already
may
shoot.
vary.
Yeah. You already did your one shot. Now what?
Right.
Where you go after that?
Yep. Yeah, what's your contingency plan, I guess.
Exactly.
I
What's
mean,
Plan B?
so like during I guess the pre-op process, Greg, did they like ask you or go through anything like that? Like, if you have this and
Manage your expectations, kind of thing.
right,
Well, you had the 3 tests that you had to clear before you even got to the surgery part. The neuropsych test, the leave it open challenge test, and the third one just went right out the window. There were three, and you got to pass all those. And then we had the conversation about expectations, and I thought I'd done my research. He asked me what my expectations were, and I said, 40% better. I might get greedy, maybe went 60% back, and he said he thought he could do better than that. And he said, "Is there something that you can't do now that you'd like to be able to do later?" And I said, "I'd like to be able to throw a baseball with my son." He said, "I think we can do that." And I've been able to do both.
Yay.
So, but it wasn't the free ride I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to have this done and I was going to be good for 10 years and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Some of my issues are starting to creep back. Some of the dystonia is starting to creep back a little bit. The dyskinesia hasn't come back yet, thank God. But it hadn't been a totally free ride. A little bit of dystonia I've had to pay. So, and the thing I had a hard time understanding is he described me as the perfect patient for this procedure because I was almost entirely dystonia.
Ooh.
I was very stiff, very little tremor at all. And so he thought I'd really benefit from it, and then to find out it's starting to creep back anyway is a little discouraging. But I'm
Could that
still
be
haven't
that
had
you need
those
the
before.
programming needs to be tweaked though? I mean, if symptoms start to creep back.
Some of this I don't really understand, and it's probably my fault for not asking more questions. But the first programming session I went fine, and then the second one I went to only lasted a day, not even 2 days.
I think you changed it by the end of the first day. You had really bad,
Yeah, I think by the end of the first
really
day,
bad amnesia.
I
Oh.
was not
Yeah.
feeling well at all,
Yeah.
and called him up. He said, "Well, fortunately, I've got one that I can actually use myself." And he said, "Just go back to therapy A, and you push a button, and it converts back to the original therapy." So it actually where I'm at now is still the first version of the therapy I got after surgery. So I guess he hasn't had a chance to work on the low back area where I had most of the dystonia yet because we're still kind of behind.
So is it like, are there only a certain amount of times, like per year or whatever, that you can do reprogramming, or is it?
He still has me on the every 3 month schedule.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's an insurance requirement or if that's just how he does his business. But I still go every 3 months,
Okay.
which was particularly irritating because I thought this dystonia had cleared up in my back and I was coming back. I didn't feel like waiting 3 months because the last one only lasted a day. But
Chris, are you considering getting it?
Yeah, we had that conversation with my movement disorder specialist 3 weeks ago. So,
Yeah.
and it was one, she said it's, we're on starting the process, but I have to, scheduling for the psych eval and all that stuff. She said it may take a while because they're kind of, I guess, booked maybe. But she says once you get that first appointment, she's like everything,
Yeah.
kind of tears in afterwards. So, um, but yeah, I mean, it's
It's on
kind
the
of a,
table.
yeah, I mean, because we both she and my neurologist feel that I'm kind of, they don't want to add any medications, any more medications.
How many are you on now, may I ask?
Actually, I take Artane and Cinmed.
That's
Those are the
How
two, and
many
well,
cinnamon?
Ungentis at night. But I'm still waiting to hear back from her mail to see if, because I asked her about if she'd heard if that was going to be taken
Oh
off the
yeah.
market or whatever. But it's a very regimented time schedule that I have, and if there's any variation, I mean, the wheels just come off the cart.
It's the
yep.
same for me. Yep.
Like
Same for me.
the last 2 days, it's just
Jennifer, I'm taking two Rytari 4 times a day. So that's where I'm at, which is about half what I was taking before.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm the lucky one out of you guys because I'm still on just propranolol and it's really working well for
Wow.
me.
Good for you.
But like I was telling the guys last night, my biggest concern was when um, they were dancing around the idea in October, and my best friend was the one that said, I think you have Parkinson's. And I was put on pramipexole right off, but oh my God, narcolepsy, like I
Yeah.
couldn't even, it was awful.
Yeah, I had
But
to change it to nighttime.
yeah, so the propranolol is working great for me.
Good
I
for
haven't
you.
had a ton of side effects at all. But the amount of change that I've seen from when I went off the propranolol like was devastating to
Yeah.
me. But I'm so lucky that that's what's working for me now, and I don't have to move on to the, higher drugs for now. So
For now.
for now, yeah. Oh.
I'm actually going through the workup process now. I have an appointment on Wednesday. I'm supposed to go in off my medication, and they're going to measure me off versus on.
You're gonna hate that test, my friend. Just be
Yeah,
ready.
that sucks.
You're
I
gonna
hate
hate
it too.
it.
I
Yeah,
hate it too.
it's the worst.
It was miserable.
So, and Chris, I answered a questionnaire last week that they sent me, and they were asking about expectations.
Okay. So, I mean,
I'm
was
like, I
it
want
like,
everything to be taken care of.
Yeah,
right?
I said the same thing when my
I
doctor
want to
asked
be
me.
18 again.
Right. I
You
mean,
Exactly.
said
Exactly.
he said,
you
"What would
get a
you settle for?"
checklist and like, please pick only three kind of thing.
Yeah, I told him there's no such thing.
Yeah.
We don't settle.
I mean, I don't understand the lack of wanting people to be optimistic, I guess. You know what I mean? Yeah, if it doesn't work out as much, but I think mentality is a huge part of someone's
Yeah,
recovery,
I think
Oh
they're
yeah.
just trying to manage people being disappointed.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think they're
yeah.
just
yeah.
trying to
Well,
manage expectations.
they want you to have realistic expectations of
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
just,
It's not a cure kind of thing.
yeah. You don't
Yeah.
you don't wish your wish.
Right.
It just
Right.
doesn't work that way. So I think they just
Yeah.
want you to know that
And there
otherwise.
and there are certain parameters that they won't even mess with. Like if you have dementia, things like
Right.
that, you're
Yeah,
Oh,
not even
yeah.
a candidate for the
you're out.
process.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you're out.
Yeah.
Mike, are you talking to Hartford?
Yeah, Hartford Healthcare. Yep.
Good. Okay, good. Yep. Machado.
Yeah, he's my
Yep.
MDS.
Good. That's
Which
good.
Do
have
you
you
know
talked about a
him?
unit yet?
I'm
No,
sorry.
I haven't gotten that far.
Okay.
So they've laid out all my appointments except for the actual surgery because I told Dr. Machado that I'm not 100% sure that I want to do it. And he's
Right.
like, all right, we could do a workup evaluation a phase of things, and you can make a
Yep.
decision at any point in time.
Right.
Like, okay, I'm still not 100% sure. I waffle from day to day. I'm like,
I
I'll
mean,
have a
it's
bad day, and I'm like, I'm doing it. Then I'll have a good day
Right.
and be like, maybe I don't need to do it.
Nah, I don't need it.
Totally get that. Totally get it.
yeah, same. I mean,
One
'Cause
thing that I'll say
even if, go ahead.
is like they suggested this to me like 2 years ago when I started going to this MDS, and I was like, nope, nope, focus ultrasound, not doing it. I don't give
Yeah.
a shit. I'm not doing it. I'm gonna stomp my feet. And the more I stomped my feet, the more I was like, I was, I never anticipated it was gonna get this bad. I wish
Right.
I had done it 2 years ago because I would have saved myself all this suffering.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Because now I can't eat. I'm off like a large portion of the day.
Mm.
I mean, like when I'm here, it's funny. When I was in Texas, I was off for like maybe a couple hours twice while I was there. Here, I've been off just a little bit every day, at least 50% of the day.
Oh wow,
Uh,
that's a good portion of the day.
Yeah.
I
So
would be fucking so rage, be raging out.
Well,
I
I'm,
hate that. I
I
hate off periods.
yeah, because I say it all the time. I feel like I'm playing like a giant game of chicken where I'm just carrying
Yeah.
around another human being on my shoulders, and I feel like I'm walking around like this
right.
all day long.
And
Yep.
and and as you said there, Mel. I mean, how much, I guess, suffering. I mean, how
Yeah.
much are we stubborn or whatever to say? Well, if
But
it's
it's
the last couple of days, it's only been a couple of hours off, or 30 minutes. I can get through that okay. But then
Yeah,
it
but Weston's
hits, and
better
you're
for that.
right, and then it hits, and you're like, well, shit, I
Oh,
can't.
yeah. And then
Right,
you're chasing the dragon. You're trying to play
Yeah,
catch up. And
exactly.
yeah. It's like a tumbleweed.
Hmm.
Oh.
It's
Mary
not
got
worth
my
it.
reference.
Yeah.
Well, I got your reference because Chris called it riding the dragon when you when you've gone back on your meds after you've seen the neurologist,
Mhm.
So that's why I was totally laughing about
Well, I
that.
mean, yeah, you
uh,
chase, and then eventually you
chasing the
do hit.
dragon is a
Yeah.
drug term. Cardiac.
Mhm.
Never mind.
I was gonna say I think I did that in Texas, but I was wrong.
I will neither confirm nor deny any edible
Knowledge of
PTSD.
my references.
Thank you.
But
So
what's
well
funny
known.
is
My
unfortunately my dad's in MD Anderson, Houston right now, going through. At this point, I think it's either kidney or bladder cancer or both.
oh,
And he's got 8 rounds of chemo coming up. He's already dropped a bunch of weight. My mom's getting concerned.
Mm.
And
And he has
I said,
COVID.
well, is there anything you can do? And I said, well, if you need me to just come sit, hang out, someone to talk to, let me know. She goes, I'm doing everything I can, legal and illegal. You have to know. You have to know my mom. This comes from an 80-year-old woman. I said, Mom, do what you
whatever it
gotta do.
takes.
Yeah.
Whatever it
Whatever
takes.
it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah, well, you're retired, so it's not like you have to put your fingers in your ears now and be like, la la la. Just like, all right.
Yeah, there's no more risk of a drug test at work. That's true.
Right.
Mhm.
Not that I have an issue with that in case anyone's listening.
No, no.
Yeah, this is being recorded, Chris.
I ate all the gummies at your house, not you.
Is that why you slept that week?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no.
No comment, says
You're,
Mel.
you're still up north though, so
Yeah, well.
temporarily.
until October 1st or ish.
My doctor's all for it. I had started drinking seltzer, which I haven't had any in a little bit, but she's like, I'm all for it. She goes, you want a medical card? What can I do for you?
Right.
Honestly, like when I got diagnosed, that was one of the first things I got. I'm like, hey, might as well get something good out of
Might as
this.
well. Yep. And I was 40 when I was diagnosed, and I was living down south, and it was just, this is 7 years ago. It was just coming around that some states were doing medical, and it was like state by state, and it was like really
Mm.
slow rollout. And South Carolina was just like blatantly, we're not going to do it. We're going to be the last state in the union to legalize it, even for medical purposes. So that was
That'll be
honestly
Texas.
another big push for us to come back up north. And I never partook until I was 40. I was just like, my husband, like for our entire relationship, because he was a huge pothead back in high school. Yay, 80s. But he was like, it's going to help you. It's going to help you. It's going to help you. It's going to help for years. And I'm like, no, it's illegal.
Yeah.
It's not for me. It's illegal. I'm not doing it. So finally I was like at 40, I was just like, fuck it. And I was just like,
Mm.
hey, and took a little experimenting and whatever, finding out what strain was doing what to me. And now it's like I'm all in for the gummies. I'm all, whatever. Why suffer, basically?
Yeah.
Why, if it works for you and it, gives you some kind of relief. We go through so much every day.
Yeah.
If you can have a little bit of relief,
Yeah.
fuck it.
My sleep issues were almost entirely because of the dystonia in my back. I couldn't move once I was in bed. If I got flat on my back, I couldn't move,
Yeah.
couldn't roll over,
Right.
and that I don't want to say cured it, but essentially solved that problem. I started getting plenty of sleep after that, which
Yeah, finally.
downstream fixes a lot of other things.
Hmm.
Yeah, because if again, if my med timing is right, um, I don't have that issue going to sleep. But there are times that it's you miss that window of opportunity, and then you're like, well,
Staring at the walls.
right, you're staring
Yeah.
at the walls, and you can't get comfortable, and it's
No.
3 a.m.
right.
Yeah.
If I fall asleep right now, I'll get 3 good hours.
I got this issue now where I've got like temperature control issues, I
Oh,
gotta get out, turn the air up, turn the air down, turn the air up, turn the air
Yep.
down. Do that like
Yep.
all night long sometimes, and
hmm Are the
Yeah.
windows open or are they closed?
exactly.
Yeah.
I get the benefit of my cat has a heated blanket that she requires year round. Currently it's at a 4, but she requires it, and she requires it to be at my feet because that's the way it is. She rules the house. So like my
oh,
feet are burning hot
Yeah.
because the cat, and so like I'm flinging my blankets off and my 17 pillows, and my husband's a bass player, so he sleeps with his arms like wide open and he's playing bass in his hand, and it's a fucking nightmare. But then I try to get up to leave and he wakes up instantly. What's going on? Where are you going? Are you okay? Are you it's like I just need to stretch my legs, you know.
Mine are extremities. My hands and feet will turn to ice cubes, and the rest of me is still sweaty. It's the weirdest
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I get like that too.
Weirdest thing.
Before
Do you
you said
guys ever feel like you with the inhaler, you kind of get clammy after taking the dose? That's what I feel
I've
like
never done.
sometimes. I don't know if it's
No.
the fact that it's taken effect immediately or what, because I don't get that when I just take the pills.
I never thought
But
about it.
I don't. No. I mean, I don't. It doesn't. Not really clammy. I mean, I feel like
mhm,
gritty, um, but that's. But I don't. I don't think it. No. I don't. It doesn't really change. I don't think it affects the temperature regulation
mhm.
when I take it.
No, I don't think mine does either.
But now I'm
I'm
gonna
not
have
sure how
to.
much you actually get, because you get bad coughing fits when you do it.
Yeah, I
I don't
have
know how
that
much
bronchial
you're actually.
spasm, so
oh,
Oh man.
I
or
don't know how much you
asthma,
actually get in your
or
lungs.
they think it might be internal dyskinesia. Because I've had a cough since I don't know forever, but
Do you
I
drink
thought that I
water?
had some kind of like
That seems to help.
infection, and then I realized that ambrosia turns your saliva and your mucus
Mucus,
black.
yeah,
So
yeah, because that
talking
the
about
doctor,
black,
Black?
she's like,
and I
if
was
you,
like, oh, I have
yeah,
black lung from the ambrosia,
Did you
but
say black?
black,
yeah. I mean,
Oh
that was
man.
the
black.
first thing when I
It was
told my
scary.
Scared me
MD
I
to
thought,
death. The
that
first thing I thought of was she had blood in her lungs or something.
right,
yeah, that's
Oh
That's
yeah.
yeah.
what
I
it
thought it was
looked like.
like black lung. I was like, I didn't
Yeah.
work in a coal mine. Like, what's
mhm.
happening?
oh,
And
That
then
like I said, first thing when I mentioned it to my MD, she was like, well, are you? She's like, have you noticed you've been coughing up, black stuff more? And I was like, no. Um,
yeah,
and it was like
How is
right.
that an acceptable side effect? How is that?
I
it's
didn't cough
gross.
up black stuff when I used it.
I haven't coughed that up.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's gross. Like,
I mean, granted, I do smoke, so there's
I don't.
that, but it's not nothing,
Ugh,
black or tarry or whatever. But
that's
it's
disgusting.
Yeah, it's
and
gross.
then
The
that
smoking
makes you
or the
wonder what
ambrosia?
is it really doing to us, kind of thing.
Right.
Right? I was just
Jen,
in
do
the
you
hospital.
Jen, do you seek Dr. Machado?
No, before I left for South Carolina, I was in and out of Hartford Hospital Group, and they did not diagnose me
Hmm.
for 20 years.
Oh wow.
So when I came back home, I was just like, I'm not going back to Hartford Hospital. Everybody has changed. The whole staff has pretty much changed.
Hmm.
Dr. DeMarcida was there when I saw her previously, and she did not diagnose me. But so now I go to Yale, even
Okay.
though I'm on the other opposite side of the state. It's only an hour drive anyway. So when I was in South Carolina and we are talking about coming home, my doctor down there said that I was a great candidate for DBS and that I should really consider it when I went back home. So I was like, okay, well, I don't want Hartford Hospital to do it because I didn't have a great experience with them all those years ago. So where else in Connecticut are you going to go for brain surgery?
Yeah.
It's not going to be Manchester. I'm going to go to
I
Yale.
think they were
So
also
that's,
doing it in Yale, but I don't think they
yeah.
do it in Yale anymore, from what I heard.
Well, when I had my first appointment with him, he's like, "What? You live so far away. Why'd you pick? this as your hospital. And I told him, I said, because they told me I was ready for DBS. He's like, you're nowhere near ready for DBS. He's like, you're on
Mm,
pretty much the lowest dose that we give, and you're doing great. So it's not even on the table right now. So
mhm. Yeah, that
I'll
was
deal, I'll deal with it when I have to, kind of thing.
that the first
Yeah.
time I'd heard the words. My neurologist, like, she's like, you're kind of high functioning, and I
Yeah.
was like, well, my meds are on, I'm okay. I mean,
Right.
but it's still that, as soon as you realize, you feel, my meds are working, I feel good, immediately in your mind that timer starts.
Right.
Where, I've got an hour and a half, I've got
Right.
whatever,
Yep.
and then anxiety kicks up from that, and you're
Hmm.
just
My
it's
issues, I started having inconsistent off times. I
yeah.
couldn't count on them.
Mhm.
It'd just be
Yeah.
sporadic here or there for no apparent reason, and
Mm,
that's what kind of pushed me more towards DBS because I couldn't count on consistent
right.
those times.
Yeah. That's where I'm at right now. But my doctor was opposite though. He was like, "Why would you not get this now when it's not that bad?" And I was like,
Really.
"Because I don't want it." And he was the one that has been fighting me this whole time. And I'm like, "Well, this and this and this is happening now." And he's like, "Well, DBS." And I'm like, "But the gastric issues." And he's like, "Yeah, that's not going to get fixed by anything. So DBS." And I'm like, "Okay, how about you give me some Botox for this dystonia?" And he was like, "Well, how about DBS?" And I'm like, "Well, God damn it."
Can I have something?
Yeah,
Right.
but that's what's weird about it. I mean, depending on the neurologist you're going to see, they have different
Right.
opinions about it.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
and it's along the same as, do they start you on, carbidopa levodopa or some other treatment first? I mean,
Yeah.
right.
the doctors, they all have their treatment ideas.
And
Right.
I'm just wary about financial motivation behind this stuff too. It's like,
Yeah.
How much are they getting from
when you
Medtronics?
see ads for DBS
Everything
and
is
and they're
everything.
doing webinars to advertise it
Yeah.
and
And
like
there's
even
one supplier.
yeah.
I saw the Medtronic webinar. I was like, yeah, no.
Yep, I did too.
I'm sorry. Eric talks to the Medtronic rep all the time. I think the Medtronic rep is an ass. He was the one that tried to say like, oh, there's a window of opportunity, and once you pass that, and I looked at him and I was like, bro, I don't know where you're getting your information from, but you better read it again.
The rep I
Mhm.
met was a woman.
And he was like, and I was like, I gotta go.
Yeah, I'm not
Like
listening to
Well,
that's
I
this
mean
been
bullshit.
that
my
their job is to sell it, right?
Right.
yeah. So
Yeah.
but I don't play the scare tactics, and that's cruel.
No.
Like
Mhm.
you're gonna try scare
Hmm.
tactics, like that's like tying
We're
somebody's
done.
shoes
Yeah.
together when they stand up and tripping them. Like no, I don't think so, bro.
No.
Who was it
Huh.
we were talking to that, like, they said one of the hardware reps was actually in the surgical theater with them. Was it you, Greg?
Yes, sir.
That was
That's
saying,
what I was
like,
gonna
they
say.
were
I had kind of an opposite experience in that because my neurologist, my MDS, both met with me, laid out 3 devices. We went through the pros and cons of each device. He told me what he liked and what he suggested, and then wanted to hear what I thought and what I suggested. And it was very much, I felt like part of a team effort. I didn't feel pressured to pick anything in particular. And I ended up going with the Medtronic non-rechargeable for a variety of reasons. And the lady that was kind of part of that team meeting was also in the operation, the surgical suite when I had it done. She actually held my hand through some of the procedures. So I had a really good takeaway from it. I had no issues with it.
so you had got to pick, because I mean, my MDS was like, she's like, we use the Boston Scientific here. It's like,
The guys I had, one was Dr. Faraji at Herman Memorial, and the other one was Dr. Mahana at UTMB, which are both teaching facilities. That caused some questions. You
yeah,
know, is this a teaching opportunity or is this one that y'all used
right.
before? What's the track record? So we kind of started on that conversation, but they it was very much a team effort. I'm sorry, I forgot your question, Chris.
No, I was like, when I talked to
Oh,
my MDS about
which
it,
unit? Which
yeah,
unit?
she was just like, we use she's like, we use the Boston Scientific device. She's
The
like,
only thing
that's
he said, the only negative they told me was they did not recommend or could not recommend the focus ultrasound. Aside from that, he said, these are the options, these are the models, this is what we have to choose from.
interesting.
Which one would you like to go with? And it was totally up to me which one I picked.
Oh, because yeah, I mean, she just was just like, this is she's like, we've done several and we seem to have the best results with this, so this is the device we use.
That's the way he phrased this suggestion. This is one we've had the most experience with. This is the one we've had most success with. That's why we suggest this one. But he
Okay,
also said, this other one has. It came down to how they transmit the signal, because some of them needed 2 wire leads because they do some kind of deal where the signal jumps between the 2 leads or something, and got very above my head very quickly. But that's kind of where that was at.
I know here that there's one that they don't have. I can't remember which one it is. I think it's the one that starts with A or whatever. But there's only 2 options up this way.
Abbott.
Yeah, they don't have Abbott. The Lehigh Valley
Mel,
doesn't.
where are you again?
In Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I'm about 40 minutes from where Eric is.
I did
Temporarily.
a I did a device.
Temporarily.
I did a poll on the DBS group on Facebook,
Mhm.
asking people what device they had, and Boston. Out of 33 responses, half of the people had Boston Scientific.
Mine's Medtronic.
Then it was. Do you have Activa or the Percept one?
Percept.
Okay. Yeah, Activa was 17%, Percept was 16%, and Abbott was 16%. The rest was Boston Scientific.
Well,
I
I feel
wonder
like
why
they're well known.
do you know if the Boston Scientific is that the rechargeable one?
I'm not sure.
I think it is.
I
Yeah,
wonder.
that was she said it was they used the Boston rechargeable one was what she said.
Rechargeable. Yeah. That's what
That
Jeff
that
has.
would be the hardware I would get. So
Interesting. I wonder
yeah,
why
I
they
mean
discrepan-
it's a
I mean, it's a very unscientific poll. It's just random
Yeah.
people on
well, but I
Facebook.
mean,
So
that's
marketing campaigns.
But it helps though. It helps to know
Yeah,
what
just yeah.
yeah, I
his
mean, because that's look, the
idea.
only way we need to collect as much data as we can about not just DBS, I mean, but anything for this to feed on to our care team because that's the only input they're really they see us once a quarter maybe or once twice a year if we're lucky and you I mean I know I go in with a notebook and a list of things and sometimes I get all of those thoughts and ideas out and sometimes maybe
Sometimes you
one or
forget
two.
you even have the notebook with you.
Right,
Oh
right.
yeah,
Or you look at it and you think,
accurate.
well, my doctor's answering something from this question. I'm like, I'm going to
Yeah.
ask this next, and then you get to that point, and you're like, yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
yeah.
You're just staring off into the ether,
Yeah, you're
thinking,
gone.
I had an idea that I was going to try to formulate, but it's gone
It's
now.
gone.
I had a fascinating experience with my MDS because he talks to himself when he works. So when he was tuning my first tune-up, he was talking his way through the tune-up. And it was fascinating to listen to him think about how he was adjusting the different channels in his thought process and how he was adjusting them. So to me, it was fascinating. I kind of got a glimpse into how this guy thought. It was pretty interesting.
It never got he never did say, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
Thank God for
Whoops.
that. Could you imagine?
Uh-oh.
He made
Whoops.
these little micro adjustments, and I'm probably about to just ruin y'all all with DBS, but I'm gonna tell you the story anyway.
oh no.
He turned one up a little too high, and my tongue slammed the top of my mouth
Ooh.
and stuck there. It would not move. And he's like, "What are you feeling now?" And I'm like,
Oh man.
it's like I couldn't move my
Yeah,
tongue.
It's like some weird Beetlejuice shit. And you're like,
And then
yeah. I mean,
another one, my face felt like it was sliding off. It just kind of
oh
dripped
my
down.
God.
mhm.
And then the other one,
I've heard different things from people like that. That's
Yeah.
like,
crazy stuff like the sensation of bacon cooked sizzling on my tongue, like
yeah,
Oh wow.
something frying on my
yeah.
tongue.
Did
I don't
did
think I would
did
mind
it
that.
affect your? Did any of the programming steps mess with your vision any?
Yes, I got like I went from
Vision.
Yeah.
stone sober to like I had drank 3 pitchers of margaritas and like
Oh my
instantly.
God.
The room started spinning. I was double vision. It was
Ugh.
awful. I
Word.
almost threw up.
Well, I know
But
Debbie told me her arm went straight
I'm
up
on
one time. And
twos.
like, yeah.
He said the unit I have has 17 zones in it, and he's only using 8 zones right now to make
Wow.
adjustments. So he said the other 8 come down further down the road if we,
Yeah.
if they become necessary. But there's still a lot of growth, and that's one of the reasons I chose this unit is because it's built with like open architecture, I guess, where they can do
Okay.
adjustments down the road if need be. So that's one of the reasons I went with the one I went with.
You
Yeah,
get some wiggle
because
room.
once it's there, you really don't want to, every 3 years go back in and have an
No,
overhaul kind of
and
thing.
not if I don't have to. No.
Yeah. It's like a pacemaker then.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Well,
and
if
that's
you have
kind
the
of what I
recharge,
tell
if you
people.
got, if you have the non-rechargeable one, you have to go get the battery replaced every few years.
He said that I should get. They base it on how often it has to
Oh,
cycle or push an impulse through.
Hmm.
And I'm at twos right now, so I'm at the very low end of the spectrum. So he said at the rate that I'm using the battery now, I should get maybe probably 10 years, 10 to 12 years out of it.
and
Oh
I
wow.
would imagine that like if when you're there, they should be able to like connect
Check the
to that
battery.
and yeah, check the
I could
battery
do it
kind
at
of
home.
thing and kind of see, you're at 80% charge kind of thing, and
Yeah.
based on how much how much output, I guess is.
When you
It.
leave, the particular model I've got, the Percept, you get a communicator and then the actual DBS unit, and
Okay.
you charge them once a week. One of them you charge daily, the other one you charge once a week, and you can turn them on at any time and see right there where your battery level
Okay.
is at.
So it's okay.
Yeah, every time you turn it on to see what you're. I mean, I've turned it on a few times, and it looks the same every time I turn it on. So I haven't turned it back on in a while because
Right.
everything seems to be working at the moment. I guess so when it goes bad, I'll be in trouble. But it is
With
still
with Boston Scientific, it's actually an iPhone app that you use
Yeah.
yeah.
to
This is
control it.
it's a cell phone with one app on it. And that's it.
Hmm. He calls it his
See
brain.
I
the
call it my
This is my
IT
brain.
brain.
the part of me that likes to take things apart is hearing all of this, and I'm like, ooh, I get to go in and
Yeah. Let me
Check
tweak
it.
that a
like
little
that's
bit.
not a good thing, not a good
Next thing
thing,
you know,
Chris.
your like arm goes pew.
Well, that's one thing I asked him. I said, I don't want to be barking like a dog one day or jumping up and start screaming like a chicken. So,
Oh no.
what's the security like for this network,
Mhm.
whatever it's using?
Hmm.
And it's actually very well thought out. I mean, that's why you use a communicator and a device. So there's already a layer of
Built. Okay.
devices to get to your device in your chest, and on top of that, it's just split encryption. So only the two devices each have part of the key. So they have to
I
be
gotta go.
within a couple of feet of each
Yeah,
other,
Thanks,
Jen.
Jen.
and then be within a couple of feet of your chest implant for the key to be complete and
Actually,
function. So for anybody to jack with it, you have to be in very close proximity of your unit and the guy with it's messing with it.
Oh God. At least you can't have a bad romance and
Well, I'm sure somebody could do because mine's not locked. I mean, I could get in there and start screwing with it if I really wanted to. I wouldn't do that for anything in the world.
I wouldn't either.
Well, I say that it's locked. I don't know. I was able to, like I said, the last update he didn't go well, and I was able to go back to the original
to roll
program.
back.
So I don't know if it's profiles that are saved, and I can just jump between
Right.
profiles. I don't know how much
Probably.
access I have over actually changing settings and stuff.
Yeah, I don't think they put that in there because it's too, because it's not really made for novice.
That may
manipulation.
be.
Yeah.
I mean, I
There's
didn't
probably
even
a
ask.
fail-safe built in there, I would imagine, that only allows a certain, up or
I
down
didn't even
frequency.
ask.
With the
I was.
rechargeable one, it's kind of funny that you have to plug yourself in like a couple times a week.
Yeah. They do that with spinal stimulators too. You have to charge
Oh
it.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, because some
common,
of
but
them
it's
it's like there's like a Bluetooth or near field recharger that you wear around your neck kind of thing, and
yeah.
Hmm.
That's where the communicator is. It sits on my shoulder.
is it like you wonder are they going to add in like kinetic charging like the watches that you would wear that you would shake and
One
help
thing I
that?
can tell is lithium ion. I think is what he said it is. Is it's warm. I can tell when it's been working because it gets warm. And it's kind of different.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that would.
That's kind of
I'm
weird.
hoping it's not lithium ion. I thought that's what I remember him telling me, but I hope not because aren't those the ones that blow up in?
Yeah,
They
you have to prepare
can.
I
yourself
think
when you get
so.
on a flight now.
Yeah, that's. It's supposed to be MRI safe. I just had a cardiovascular a cardio CAT scan done, and I called my MDS. I called the doctor. I talked to the imaging tech. Everybody that was touching that machine, I had every one of them tell me it's safe, it's safe, it's safe. I'm just making sure because I don't, yeah, I don't want to
Yeah,
start
because I
barking
know with.
chicken or something at the end of this thing.
I think I remember reading something about like with scans that they do, like they go in and like tweak the frequencies of the scanner so it
Mm.
doesn't interfere or interact with the devices kind of thing.
The cardio one I did, I think it's passive. I think it's reading an
Okay,
EKG, so it didn't
it
require anything.
didn't.
The MRIs, I know specifically, MRIs have to be reprogrammed because they have to do something different
Mm.
around it.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, don't
X-ray.
stand near transmission towers or microwave antenna.
I had plasma torches, welding units,
Yeah,
plasma
that
cutters.
was. I thought that part was interesting too.
No deep sea diving, no, there's limits like that. But one of the things I thought was interesting was it just flew out of my head.
You understand?
Oh,
Greg,
the
did
X-ray.
you?
They did a chest X-ray for my cardiac test to measure the size of my heart, I guess. And I was concerned about the X-ray because he had said that some of the airport X-rays, the really high power ones, can trip off your unit sometimes.
Ooh,
Wow.
Yeah. So again, I went through the same thing. Called NDS, talked to the X-ray tech, talked to everybody that's going to touch that machine. Is this going to hurt me? And they all said no, so I had to trust them. And it worked. It worked without a problem. I didn't have any issues with it. So
If something got messed up, are you able to just turn it off and rely on your medication?
I was told the worst case scenarios I might have to I might have to cycle the unit, turn it off, and turn it back on.
Hmm.
He said worst case, and with the caveat that I'm supposed to avoid welding units, anything that puts out a large power field. They
right.
don't want you anywhere near anything like that. Plasma cutters, plasma torches, anything like that. Those can actually fry your unit, and then you're at risk of a stroke or something. Or
Oh
Oh
my
something.
God.
man.
So, he said no, nothing that's got a lot. That's why the MRIs have a real large power field behind it. I think they have to focus that down or power it below a limit or something to get an image or whatever. They just don't want you entering an energy field because it's a direct connection from your chest to your brain.
But it'll go.
Mm.
During the surgery, did you have the choice to be awake or asleep?
I had the choice, not the ability. They apparently push so much propofol, and I don't know if I mentioned I love propofol. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I love propofol. Magic stuff. I just never felt like I'd ever slept that great my entire life.
Right.
Right.
But the woman from Medtronics was in there rubbing my hand, saying, Greg, wake up. We need you to wake up. And I was trying. I could hear her, and I was trying to open my eyes. I just could not physically
Couldn't.
open my eyes. And she tried a few more times, and of course you can't. I was actually in the MRI, so I couldn't reach up and open my eyes or anything. I was kind of pretty bolted down, I
Locked
guess.
in.
And she tried a few more times. I said, I'm trying, and then her voice just trailed off into nothingness, and I woke up and it was all over. So
But there was some point you were awake though, because you said you tasted bacon, right?
Oh, that was during
Yeah,
the
That was
programming.
yeah,
the
that was during the
Oh,
programming.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it
program.
was the sizzling sensation on the tongue was what it was.
Mhm.
No, and there the only oddity I had was when they started bringing me out a little bit was I heard a bunch of people hooping and hollering like at a football game or something. It sounded
Huh.
like it was off in the distance. It was kind of muted. And when the neurosurgeon came in to talk to me, he said, "You had everybody geeking out over you." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, we had they had I guess technical guys from Medtronics there, and I guess some people from the school." And he said, apparently every part of the brain has a different sound to it. The thing I equated it to is like a ultrasound for a baby's heart, that whoosh 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 whoosh
Mhm.
whoosh. Every area of the brain makes a sound similar to that, but it's depending on which part of the brain you're in, it's different.
Different frequencies or
Different
wavelengths.
frequencies and stuff. And these guys, every time they would get the lead where they wanted to lead, they'd turn that sound on, and the sound it would make was the exact sound that the book said it should make.
Should be. Wow.
And they said I was like 100% on all the leads, that making all the correct sounds, and they were like completely geeked out that it was that perfect. So
Wow.
that was a little strange, but
I've got to jump off. I hope you guys have a great week ahead. Thanks for sharing your story, Greg. It's insightful.
no problem. Anytime you got any questions, just you can get in contact with me.
Okay, you all take care.
Hi,
Hey,
Charlotte.
Charlotte. Yeah. I guess we can kind of wrap up if you want to. It's been about an hour, I guess. So that'll save some editing time, I suppose.
Well, we'll be able to cut the 2x3 box down a little bit here before too long.
It was nice chatting with all of you. I'm gonna hop out too.
Definitely. And
All
like I
right.
said,
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
I'm going to try to do these a little more regularly. So just be on the lookout. So.